Welcome to Shell Shock MMA Live. I am your host, Travis Single, and you guys just watched the end of the main event between Ciryl Gane and Jairzinho Rozenstruik at UFC Fight Night 186, live from Las Vegas, Nevada at the UFC Apex facility, where Ciryl Gane moves to 8-0 in his undefeated career. Number 7th ranked heavyweight defeats the number 4 ranked heavyweight in Jairzinho Rozenstruik via unanimous decision, 50-45 on all cards. It's a good thing that there wasn't any fans in the Apex facility tonight. It was quite a snooze fest, as Ciryl Gane was definitely looking to get the decision victory and try to get as less damage in the fight as he was moving on to 8-0 in his record. Ciryl Gane ended up getting a couple takedowns against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, just basically controlled the fight where it was up against the cage or up against just on the ground for just a little bit, but also the striking ability was just on another level for Gane. Rozenstruik landed a couple shots, but he definitely missed on the big ones that counted. So Gane ended up getting about double the actual significant strikes against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. So it was a kind of a snooze fest. Definitely, if there was fans in the crowd, they would definitely be booing because there was a lot of dead time in between the fights. And at the end of round 3, Ciryl Gane kind of laughed it off, and you kind of could tell that he was definitely going to go for the decision victory. So we'll just have to wait and see who he fights next. Most likely it'll be Derek Lewis, who got the KO victory over Colorado's own Curtis Blades last weekend. So we'll see how everything plays out. But John Jones will have the basically the title shot to face the winner of the current champion Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou, who fight on March 27th, coming up here in just a little under a month. So we'll wait to see how that plays out. John Jones will get the winner of that fight. And then I would not be surprised if we see Derek Lewis versus Ciryl Gane, and see if Ciryl Gane goes 9-0, and then most likely he will get the next title shot after John Jones if he defeats Derek Lewis. So we'll just wait and see how everything plays out in the heavyweight division, but it's definitely stacked. And we'll, in the post-fight show, we'll basically go down all the results of the prelim card and also the main card, with the prelim card and the main card being on ESPN Plus streaming service. Basically no transitions between other ESPN networks and also any of the stream center or the streaming device. So basically ESPN Plus on all platforms for tonight. So what we'll do is we'll look to see if you guys want to interact with us. Feel free to put some comments in the section of the Facebook page of Shell Shock MMA and also the YouTube page of Shell Shock MMA. And then feel free to make a comment, or if you guys want to chat about the fights that happened tonight, whether it's the main event or whatever you guys saw tonight, feel free to join in. And then also, feel free to join in the conversation of the huge fight that's going to go down actually next Saturday night. And it's going to be a huge one. So we'll just have to talk about these fights tonight, and then we'll dive into the 3 title fights that are going to happen next Saturday night in the UFC. So first off, we'll try to chime into our news editor, Ryan Smith, and he's basically got some of the news stories going on into it. So we'll chime into here, and then we'll see what he thinks about the fight tonight, and then go from there. What's up, Ryan? How are you?
What's going on, Travis?
Good. Hopefully they could see us. Let's see. We'll try to.
Can you see me?
Yeah,
there we go. Okay.
There we go. A little bit better. There we go.
So okay, good.
Yeah, Ryan Smith is our news editor. So a lot of times if you see any of the news stories, whether it's combat sports, sometimes we'll dive into boxing if it has anything to do with any of the MMA fighters switching over and stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of criminal cases that come up with some of these fighters, just like any other industry. That's pretty much how it is. It's just kind of blown up and glorified a little bit. But tell us a little bit about the fights tonight, Ryan. What did you think?
Wasn't a good card, to be honest with you, man. I mean, the main event I was really looking forward to with Rozenstruik and Gane, and yet it was kind of it was a little bit of a sleeper. Gane was very technical and kind of stayed away from the big power of Rozenstruik, and kind of outpointed him for 5 rounds, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I saw too, because I kind of predicted in the pre-fight show that I didn't see many decisions, but pretty much everyone was a decision except for
The ships
the
were probably
TK.
what, like plus a
Yeah,
thousand for this
yeah,
fight
exactly. Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous of how. And then not only that, we got a draw right before the co-main event, and you don't see those odds.
with the
Those
ladies.
Yeah, so the odds probably went through the roof with that one too, because a lot of times I've seen people make a lot of money off of weird draws, but hopefully somebody cashed out on that draw tonight between Montana De La Rosa
You
and
got a lot of balls if
Venezuela.
you're gonna pick a draw in MMA.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all I'm gonna say.
Well, especially in the heavyweight division too, because if you think that's going to happen, or even a light heavyweight division, it happens every once in a while, but not very often compared to some of the other weight divisions.
No. Yeah, I think you see it more with the women than you do the men, to be honest.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah, oddly enough, because like we had the interview with Burt Watson a couple weeks ago. He pretty much said that the ladies usually have more heart and they're after blood. They're looking for the finish right away. So you'll see two fighters like you saw tonight, where they just literally blast each other in the face with elbows and punches, and try to get the submission victory on both sides. And they weren't able to finish it, so they end up getting a majority draw decision.
Yeah, did you see the video Vinny Lopez just posted with Montana when Dana saying Dana thought Montana won?
Yeah, no, I didn't see that. I saw her left
He
eye
just
was
posted it.
absolutely blasted.
Yeah, he just
Okay.
posted it. So yeah, I saw that right before I came on with you. So I was like, oh, Dana thought Montana won as well. So
Yeah,
I think
a lot of people did too. Well, especially with the point
I did as
deduction
well. Yeah.
too. Yeah, yeah. Because even with the point deduction, with her holding on to the cage, it just seemed like Montana might be able to get the decision no matter what, just because of Silva getting the
Mm-hmm.
point deduction. It's almost like a cardinal sin when it comes to MMA, where if you get a point deduction, it could screw you in so many ways. We've
Oh,
seen it in the Ultimate Fighter and many
easily.
other. So tell us about. There's a lot of stories this week. Tell us some about the stories that we're running, especially with the UFC and whatever promotion you saw using this week.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier about boxing, and we got a story this week concerning MMA boxing. Former UFC heavyweight champion Frank Mir gonna be boxing Antonio Tarver April 17th on the Logan Paul Ben Askren card.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I saw a recent
That,
comment by Frank Mir. Yeah, he basically said it, made a comment saying that what does he have to lose? He's already the former UFC heavyweight champion. He's going to be a future UFC Hall of Famer. So really, what else does he have to lose? So
he's got nothing to lose.
yeah,
But the thing with Frank, I mean, we know he was always known for his jiu-jitsu. He was never the biggest striker.
yeah,
I mean, he
yeah,
had good
yeah,
striking, but it was
yeah,
never to the where it didn't catch up to his jiu-jitsu.
yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting for him to come over to boxing, where he's facing a relatively well-known boxer in Antonio Tarver.
Yeah, and I get to interview Frank Mir a couple years back here in Denver, where he did a jujitsu seminar. And yeah, he's not known for his boxing at all. Definitely the people that were there for the seminar were looking to get some jujitsu pointers from the black belt. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But what a great turnout to be able to do that.
Yeah, sadly, he can't snap an arm in boxing like he can in MMA because he's kind of known for that.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Especially with the Nagaras. Yeah, yeah. It's never
Nogueira and
a good day.
Sylvia were the two that
Yeah.
he did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty nasty, especially where it pretty much pops out of the arm, and then nobody
And
even
Bill
sees it.
and they started booing
Yeah,
immediately.
and then
And then Joe Rogan,
Sylvia still
and then,
tries to pick him up with a broken arm. That's what's crazy about it too.
and then Rogan has to go, wait a minute, that's a broken arm.
Yeah.
Stop booing.
Yeah, and no,
He's seriously hurt.
that's Frank Mir's first title ever too. So that was what's crazy
Yeah,
about
it
it.
was.
Yeah, so that's pretty nuts.
I
Yeah.
think that was before the motorcycle
It
accident that took him out of
was
action.
literally right before the motorcycle accident. So yeah, I think we actually talked about that in the interview too. It's like, how the hell did you ended up? How did Sylvia end up picking you up off the ground with a broken damn arm or broken forearm? So it was nuts.
Being 6'8", 270 helps.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Plus, he's a monster too. So, did you see today? It looks like tonight that John Moraga took a last minute boxing fight under the Canelo undercard, and he ends up getting.
Really?
He got a TKO loss in the second round. He actually got dropped.
Wow.
He got dropped 7 seconds into the fight with a jab. Kind of woke him up a little bit, answered the 8 count, and then in the second round, he just got thrashed and basically got up, looked answer the 8 count, and he was fine, goes in for a little bit, and then the guy just closes Moraga out. So it's kind of sad, him being a former #1 contender and
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, I just saw the Canelo fight right before we went on. Canelo looks really good.
Yeah, well, and the dude quit on the stool too.
Right,
So
exactly.
we know Canelo's pretty damn
But
good when guys quit on the stool.
exactly,
So.
Canelo's one of the best to ever do it. So let's be
Yeah,
honest.
exactly. Yeah. What's some of the other fights that you guys had as far as like some of the fight announcements they had this week?
So looking like we're going to get Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang for April 24th.
Nice.
That should be a hell of a fight. Probably the two most talented women at 115, in my opinion.
Yeah. Have they said for sure in Vegas?
Yeah, it's looking like the Apex again.
Nice,
But
nice. Yeah, it looks like they're
everything
not
that
going to be
I'm
moving
hearing, they were
anytime
going to
soon.
do. Unless they go back to Fight Island, I think Dana can go right now. Will be Apex and Fight Island.
Yeah.
But I think
And that's
Fight
the
Island
thing
might be
too,
a
Dana.
little. Well, yeah, it's Fight Island's a little too complicated. There's a lot of things he has to do to get everyone over to Abu Dhabi for, you know, 2-3 cards at a time. So I'm assuming it's probably easier for everyone to come to Vegas, even though I think Zhang's still out of China.
Yeah. And then, she usually comes here, I've heard, always a couple weeks before to train at the Performance Institute and stuff too. So she'll be here for a while, acclimating
She
to
will be.
America and everything like she normally does for the fights too. But I also heard that Dana White definitely wants to try to do a fight, whether in Texas or Florida, if he can get it to sell out too. So we'll have to wait and see around the summertime or maybe even late spring.
Summertime would be probably the best option for that.
Yeah. Now,
once all the vaccinations go out and COVID cases really start to decline, I think he's going to start to feel better about filling stadiums up again.
Yeah. What do you think the chances are that we get a UFC International Fight Week in Vegas, or possibly, how that plays out? Do you think it's going to be wait another year?
Maybe with limited capacity, but not like years past when we've gone.
Yeah,
there's been it's crazy.
Yeah. Tens of thousands.
You and I both
for sure.
we've been to several.
Yeah, and especially at Mandalay Bay, it's just absolutely nuts. So yeah, it just keeps on
Mandalay Bay,
getting bigger and
MGM.
bigger. Yeah. Especially when Anderson was on the card too. So.
Oh, remember the Connor one that we did?
Yeah.
The Connor chat, that was pure chaos.
Yeah, any Connor card in
chaos.
Vegas is just absolutely insane. Yeah, you might as well just have the biggest event in Vegas is definitely going to be on Conor McGregor for sure. So yeah, we might see it here pretty soon. Maybe we see a Dustin Poirier fight possibly happen at the T-Mobile Arena. You never know.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, I could see that with capacity. They put fans in there for the second fight in Abu Dhabi. Yeah. 4,000 or 5,000 at T-Mobile could be a realistic possibility by summertime.
Yeah, exactly. Now, how about any other fight announcements you got coming up?
Same card, April 24th. Valentina Shevchenko defending her women's flyweight championship against former strawweight champion Jessica Andrade.
Oh, that's a huge one.
That's a good one. I was surprised they passed on Lauren Murphy, but Andrade is the bigger name. And I feel like Andrade brings a little bit more to the table for Valentina than Murphy due to her knockout power. Well,
that, and you got a champion versus champion, just in different weight classes for Andrade.
Yeah, Andrade can be the second woman to ever be champ. So, you can as well. But yeah, that's another one. April 17th. Just got made official last night. Robert Whittaker, Paulo Costa will be the main event. Probably #1 contender fight in the middleweight division. We'll see how next week plays out with Israel. But obviously, I can see maybe whenever that getting Israel if he decides to go back down.
Now, here's a big question for you. You got Izzy taking on Blachowicz next weekend. And then if he wins the light heavyweight title, do you think he'll drop the middleweight title, especially with the beef of John Jones, him going to heavyweight? Is there a possibility you could see Izzy keeping the light heavyweight title and possibly either moving up to heavyweight to face John Jones, maybe next year even?
Maybe. I feel like by knowing Izzy wants to go back and defend both for a little bit. I think what he's going to do is he's going to go back and forth. If he wins both, he'll give up the middleweight title, stay at light heavyweight, and he's going to try everything he can to get John Jones to come back down Because if you see John Jones lately, John Jones is 250 pounds.
Yeah.
He looks
Yeah, he's an
massive.
absolute monster too. Yeah, he looks absolutely bulked up and ready to go. So that should
I
be
mean, Israel
interesting.
can be like 225, 230 at heavyweight,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
But from what I'm hearing, Israel's like 215, 210.
Yeah.
So he's a tall guy. He's 6 foot,
Yeah.
same height as John.
Yeah.
So he's obviously gonna give up some size and some strength at heavyweight. I mean, his best bet would be weight, because I think
Mhm.
Israel can give John a really, really good fight at light
And then
heavyweight.
yeah, even with John kind of cleaning up his life, he's been doing a lot of the weight training for quite some time. It hasn't just been his move to heavyweight. He's been kind of planning this for quite some time. So the weight training, he's
Oh, he
been
has.
definitely bulking up in the gym.
Yeah, he has. He looks good. Obviously Dana's saying maybe gets winner of Stipe and Francis. Derek Lewis has something to say about that.
Now that's
But
another
we'll
thing. Do you think
we'll
with
see.
Cyril Gane winning tonight, will he face Derek Lewis most likely next?
Maybe if they do John versus the winner, yeah, I can see Gone and Lewis for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dana already officially said that John Jones will get the winner, but you never know. Things change on a second.
It's Dana.
Somebody could get injured. Yeah, exactly. You just never know. So obviously we got people making comments in the comment sections with the YouTube page and also Facebook page. Special shout out to
Perfect.
Jason. Yeah, he's
Put
with
on,
the
Jason.
Iron Shin. Yeah, with the Iron Shin Management Company. We interviewed one of his newest fighters, Kai Bennett, this afternoon in the
Oh, nice.
pre-show. So she was a total sweetheart. So at an Elevation Fight team. So also great guest we
Nice.
had at the pre-fight show. We had Dustin Jacoby, and he ends up winning the first fight of the prelim. So that was pretty
Mhm.
impressive. So, and then he
Yeah,
gets
he
the
did pretty
unanimous
good, I thought.
decision victory. Yeah, I thought so too. And not only that, he gets 30% of Maxime's purse because the dude didn't make
Oh,
weight
that's
on
right. He
Friday
missed
morning.
weight.
So that's
Yeah,
even
I
better.
remember.
Yeah, so there we go.
Exactly.
An added bonus. So it's funny too because I send a bunch of money bags to him in his messenger, and he put a heart on it. So I think he enjoyed that payroll coming up. So that's a
Oh
good
yeah,
thing.
he
So
will.
yeah. Yeah, and he always posts pictures with his wife and stuff, and he's just a cool dude. We've met him several times. He's just one of the
Hmm.
nicest dudes you'll ever meet. So, that's great news to have him win tonight as well. So,
Yep.
didn't pan out well for the other two Factory X fighters, and then obviously we talked about Montana De La Rosa of Elevation Fight Team. She got
Hmm.
caught on the draw, so unfortunately there's no win bonus on that. So, any other news stories? Any fight
So,
announcements? What do you got?
looking like a rematch of a possible 2025 the year with Davison Figueredo versus Brandon Moreno 2 for the flyweight title on June 12th.
Yeah,
Hopefully, we get a repeat of their last fight, because that last fight was absolutely
classic.
amazing.
It was
It
an
was
instant
amazing.
classic. Oh yeah, yeah, and a lot of people thought Brandon won that one too. So he finally gets his shot again.
Hmm. Well deserved. Well
Yeah,
deserved.
yeah,
With the rumors of Cody Garbrandt going down to flyweight, I'm really glad they're doing the rematch and
yeah.
seeing what happens. So, and hopefully maybe Cody gets another fight at 35 before he goes down to 25, because I think Cody needs another one to really sell getting a title shot, because before his last win over, who was it?
Sun Tao?
Oh, the Sunset was that amazing
Yeah,
knockout.
yeah. Mm.
I feel like he needs one more, maybe at 35, maybe Jose
Yeah.
Aldo. I
Yeah,
heard
it's so
they could.
crazy.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and you never know. Maybe he stays there a little bit and maybe takes try to get some revenge against TJ Dillashaw after kind of popping on the steroids and all the other stuff too. So
Well,
yeah, I don't
we
know
don't
if
know.
that'll happen because they're gonna try to already mess with
No,
TJ a little bit
I
to
was
try to
there for
get
the
other
second
guys
fight.
in.
I don't want to see that again.
That's what I'm saying too. Yeah, even in the first fight, it was a little close, but it's like, yeah. Plus, he did
Cody
test
dropped him
clean.
after in round one,
Yeah,
but TJ
yeah,
figured
yeah,
it out in round two. And the second
yeah,
fight, TJ just picked him apart
yeah.
and
And as
finished
far
him in
as we know, the first
round
one he
one.
tested clean, so you can't really say that he tested
And the
positive with
second
any
one,
of them. So yeah,
he
yeah.
tested clean too.
So that's just how it
It was
goes.
just when he went
Yeah,
down to
yeah.
flyweight was the EPO.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. You always have in the back of your mind if these guys are cleaning or these guys are kind of messing with the results to try to get back into the octagon and stuff. And, maybe they just get caught one of these times, but they were possibly doing it the whole time. So only they know, and only
It's always in the back of your head when someone like
yeah,
TJ tests positive.
yeah,
You kind of think like, has he been doing this the whole time, or
yeah.
was it just because he dropped down a weight class and he needed the extra help?
Well, especially with Cody and other fighters actually kind of acknowledging that he might be on steroids, and then all of a sudden he gets busted and gets 2 year suspension. So it's like, I don't know what to do with it. So, but it looks like
to quote Nate Diaz, they're all on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it looks like he's out in California, so really don't make a damn bit of difference. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if his relationship with Dwayne is done, but I guess only time will tell once he gets back into the octagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I've seen him training with Cub and I think Juan Archuleta, the bantamweight Bellator champion. So
yeah, that's what I just recently saw too.
I know Pedro Munoz called him out after the Jimmy Rivera win tonight.
Maybe I did see that.
Maybe Pedro Munoz would work for TJ's return.
Yeah, especially Pedro already getting the knockout victory over Cody Garbrandt too, so he's in the conversation. Why not? So especially he avenges his rematch against Jimmy Rivera. Jimmy Rivera won a split decision victory back in, I think, in 2015. So yeah, why not do it again? Yeah, let's see what happens. So.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Any other news?
So possible number one contender fight for the winner of Rose and Zhang. Looking like we're going to get Carla Esparza versus Yan. How you pronounce it? Yuhan?
Yeah,
on May 22nd.
It's a Chinese thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Yeah, exactly. We'll know closer to the fight. Yeah.
They were saying Dana was saying Carla, if Rose wasn't going to get the title fight, that Carla was going to get it. Obviously, we now know.
Yeah.
Carla's going to take another fight to keep herself active.
Yeah.
So winner of that probably going to get winner of Rose and Weili Zhang.
Yeah, I think that would be a perfect scenario, especially with Carla already having a victory over Rose. I bet you Rose would love to, if she gets the title win, she would love to avenge her loss against Carla.
Rally, wasn't it? The tough rally, right?
Yeah, it was a tough one. Good call. Yeah. A lot of people don't remember that because it was the first ever one that actually decided a championship. So
right. Well, the thing was that everyone forgets Carla was the first champ because I mean, Joanna had that title for a while, but no, it was Carla.
Yeah,
got exactly. It first.
Yeah, and if you look over my shoulder, over this other shoulder, there you go.
Oh, yep, I see it.
There's the poster when I was down in Dallas when Joanna actually beat Carla for the title. So yeah, that was a great night because you had two titles change hands. With Rafael dos Anjos defeating Anthony Pettis. So that was a great card.
Speaking of Anthony, his first PFL fight got announced this week too. He's fighting Clay, former UFC veteran as well.
Yeah.
So he UFC debut against someone named Clay.
Yeah. I know, isn't that crazy? Yeah. And not only that, you got he's the main event too, so that's always great to see too, because we're in the regular season coming up in April. Yeah. Coming up in April, they're going to have all the regular season, so it's nice to see him in the actual main event for PFL.
Right. Yeah, well deserved. He's one of the big free agent signings over the past few months. Why not in the main event to start out the season? Get the ratings up. Yeah. Makes all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah, and then Nick Rourke was announced as the final light heavyweight contender in the PFL tournament. So he joins Colorado's own Chris Camozzi in there. So we got two Colorado guys, one from Elevation Fight Team and one from Genesis. Yeah, it's going to be a huge one. So it'd be cool if he had both Colorado boys in the final. So yeah, that'd be great to see.
Exactly.
Any other stories? What do we got? Any criminal charges? What do we got?
Yeah, sadly, this one's gonna be a little sensitive. But former UFC fighter Travis Fulton, who fought for the UFC all the way back in 1999, has 320 professional MMA fights to his record. Recently fought for bare knuckle. Turns out he's a pervert.
Yeah.
So
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Exactly. Until he ends up in prison for a long time.
Right. Just remember that, guys. Just remember, everyone's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
But we will judge. Especially on this.
Yeah, and it doesn't look good either. So I'll tell you that for sure. Out of all the charges, this is probably the worst one.
So he faces 3 counts of possession of child pornography, sexual exploitation of a child, and receipt of child pornography.
Yeah.
So looks like he attempted to lure a minor into basically into doing child pornography, and then also the intent to distribute it,
Yeah.
and that's what he got busted for.
Yeah.
And
Pretty.
right now, as of right now, he faces 70 years in prison.
Yeah. Which meaning that he's already older already, so he'll never see the light of day.
He's like,
So
I think
it's
he's in his
pretty
mid
disgusting.
40s. I think it was like 42,
Yeah,
43.
so he'll never see the light of day if he ends up getting charged.
Probably
And
not.
somebody, yeah, and somebody like that you don't want on the streets anyways. And it's just a disgusting act if
Right.
it ends up becoming true, and if he's found guilty too. So we'll just have to see.
Well, remember a few years ago, remember Jared, was it Jared, the subway guy, got in trouble for this as well?
But that and
Remember that?
didn't I believe remember the goofy looking guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Beetlejuice? He had the same thing. He had like
Me?
he had like child porn charges against him too. So it was crazy.
I think I know who you're
Yeah,
talking
you know
about.
the like the bug-eyed guy that was the principal on
Okay,
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, and the guy that was in Beetlejuice, he
okay.
had similar charges too. It's just yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that have been getting these charges recently. You know
Yeah,
whether they're
it's just disgusting.
yeah, it's
Just disgusting.
yeah. I don't know really what to do with these guys because it's just other
Exactly.
countries they'll throw them off of a roof, but with us we'll just never see
I
them ever
wish.
again. I know. Yeah, especially
I
if
wish.
you're a father and then the little innocence of little children and stuff, whether it's male or female, it's
Yeah,
just horrible to
you
see.
know, I know you got a young son at
Yeah.
home, so seeing something like this just kind of makes your skin crawl.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy for sure. So, any other stories? Any good ones other than the gross?
Um, no, I think that's the main ones. I got all the fight announcements. I mean, you got PFL announced their first few fights for their season. We've covered Mir. There was no really big Bellator news over the past week,
Yeah,
from what I recall.
they just
I
kind
know
of
last week they did.
well, they just basically brought up like their ranking systems, but that's really the only news they had within the last
Really,
couple weeks.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so I heard some people in the media are kind of declining, not doing it. I know James Lynch, one of my reporter that I respect
oh
a
yeah,
lot,
James
he's
Lynch.
not doing it. Yeah, he's
Oh
great.
yeah,
He yeah, he declined doing it. I know a lot of people are declining just for the simple fact that they don't feel like the UFC ratings at least don't really matter, because the number one guy in the division doesn't always get the title shot.
yeah. You're talking about John Jones isn't the number one ranked fighter in the heavyweight division? You got to be kidding
Right,
me. Yeah.
a guy that's never fought at heavyweight. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah. I wonder why that is.
Or
Yeah.
or who was the most obvious one? Dan Henderson fighting Michael
Oh
Bisping
yeah,
when Dan
that's
Henderson was
right.
like 13.
Yeah,
Was 13, I
yeah,
think he was.
yeah. I totally forget about that one because you're like, oh
And
yeah,
because he passed, Jacare shouldn't got the title shot, not Dan Henderson. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember
you
that
just
one.
look at some of those stories, it's just ridiculous. Well,
Right.
I think even Chael Sonnen got a shot and stuff when he wasn't even like in
Oh
the
no.
top 3 or top 4 too. So,
And he was coming off the loss to Anderson
that's right. That's
before
what
the
it
John
was.
fight.
Yeah, yeah,
The only reason why he got it was
yeah.
because he stepped in at the infamous UFC 151
That's
card.
right. Yeah,
That's the only reason why he got it.
yeah, and that was so nuts too because John just literally handed it to him. It was not even close from the get go. So it was
Right.
almost a joke for him to even get the title shot, but John made him pay for it. So that's all that matters in the end.
Well, remember John broke his toe in that fight, so it came kind of if he wouldn't have finished it in round one, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah, I know, and
Remember that?
yeah, well, didn't it split open or something like that? And the ref didn't
Yep.
even see
I
it,
think
so
it
he
was
could,
compound fracture.
yeah, he could have literally stopped the fight and gave the belt to Chael Sonnen. That's what's so crazy.
Because all like Joe looked down, he's like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with your toe?" And everyone
Yeah,
looked down,
no,
and
it's
his
all
toe
flopping.
is like split in half.
Exactly. I remember it flopped.
And then John's like, "Oh, okay, yeah,
Uh,
this hurts. This hurts."
yeah, because I remember they asked John, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't even feel it or anything. It's surprising how it works like that." So
The adrenaline, man.
yeah,
It's the adrenaline.
yeah, it's absolutely
I
nuts.
remember when Rich Franklin broke his arm against Chuck, and he didn't feel a thing until Joe talked to him.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us what you think about the title fights that are coming up next Saturday night.
Yeah, next Saturday is hella
Yeah.
stacked. Let's be honest. Not just the 3 title fights. You got a great night of fights. I know you got Tim Elliott headlining the first set of fights on the ESPN Plus prelims as well.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a lot of fun. I know on the ESPN prelims, I know you got Joseph Benavidez, and who's he? Was it
always
I forgot who he's fighting,
forget.
but I know they got
Yeah.
Benavidez.
I know we definitely have Drew Dober in the main card going against
Who does
Islam. How do
Makachev.
Makachev? There you go.
Islam Makachev.
Yeah, always screw up
That's
that
a hell of
last
a
name.
fight.
Yeah, yeah, and Islam's no joke. Islam is a
No,
beast.
Islam.
So
He
and
is.
Drew's on a win streak as well. So that's going to be a great fight on that
This
main
is gonna
card.
be that's a fun one.
Yeah,
And then I know Dominic Cruz is on headlining the prelims.
yeah. Return after losing his
Yep.
title chance against Cejudo. So yeah,
And then I know opening the main card is Alexander Ratchik and Thiago Santos.
yeah.
That's a fun one.
That's a huge one, especially Thiago Santos. A lot of people believe that he beat John Jones as well. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously we got the 3 title fights. Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling for the bantamweight title.
Yep.
I really like Aljamain Sterling in that fight.
I do too.
I really do.
Yeah.
I think Sterling's probably the most talented guy in that division. I think his run recently has been more impressive than Peter's.
Yeah.
Peter beat Jose Aldo and Uriah Faber's last 2 fights, but it wasn't he wasn't at his best in those 2. I thought Jose Aldo, until he got finished, was looking very good.
I thought so too. Yeah, Jose has been looking good in his last couple fights, especially against Anthony Pettis. I thought that was a great fight too.
Exactly, that was. And then Aljo, we saw what he did against our boy Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
Just ran through him like a knife through butter.
Yeah. And took his back so easily too, and then put him out cold. That's what was crazy.
Yeah. Aljamain's known for taking you down and snatching up your neck. So
Matt Serra's Jiu-Jitsu 101.
Exactly. Matt Serra, fantastic coach and person. If you ever met Matt, Matt's hilarious.
And he's the nicest dude ever. Whether you're a fan, whether you're media, he's always cool with everybody. So like you see some guys get into it with Matt Serra, like in Vegas and stuff. They're like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Because it's got to be Matt Serra.
Coach.
Yeah.
It was Diego Sanchez's coach.
Yeah. I was
got into it with him.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
What are you doing?
Yeah. He must think he's too old or something like that. That he's not going to do anything back. But yeah, Matt will definitely come after you. So.
Yeah, exactly. If you push the right buttons with Matt, he'll do it.
Oh, yeah. And then
the infamous video of him taking down the drunk guy at a restaurant at Red Rocks.
Yeah. Was it the buffet line? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, right outside the buffet. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that was so cool though to see, and somebody recorded it too.
Yep.
There's always a camera somewhere, with
exactly.
Colby and Ali
and Matt knew that.
And Usman getting into it at the buffet line.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. So, what do you think about the women's GOAT, Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson?
I think Megan is going to pose a little bit of a challenge to Amanda, but I still think at the end of the day, Amanda takes it. I really do. I think Amanda's just too good, even at featherweight.
You know what? And I'm going to go the complete opposite. I've seen Nunes.
Really?
Yeah.
Megan?
Yeah, I think so because I've seen Nunes kind of slip a little bit. She had a hard time in her last one and the one before then too. It would just seem like, I just didn't.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I just didn't like it. She either gassed out or she did. I don't know what it was, but
probably took her. Yeah.
Yeah. And
the early part of that fight, she looked really good.
Yeah. And that's,
I think she slowed. Yeah,
as
down.
the fight went along, it just seemed like Amanda was kind of getting exposed a little bit. So I'm like, Megan Anderson's a huge girl. People don't realize how big she is in real life, too.
No, she's probably. Well, I don't want to guess a woman's weight, but I mean, she's definitely cutting from like 165, 170. She's
easily.
a legit featherweight.
Yeah. Well, she's close to 6 feet tall, isn't she? Something like that.
She's almost my height.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm about 6'2". She's probably 6 foot.
Yeah, 6'1". Yeah, something like that. So yeah, she's just a monster, and it's not a bad thing to call a woman fighter a monster, but she is. That's just the way it goes. But I would not be surprised if I could see Megan Anderson getting the TKO victory. It might not be a clear knockout, but I could see Nunes kind of fading a little bit, and then she finishes her off with a head kick or something.
Megan's got the power.
Oh yeah,
she's won every fight in her UFC career by stoppage, I believe. She can, if he's gonna win, she's gonna have to do it by stoppage. Yeah, and probably by knockout.
Former Invicta FC champion as well. So yeah, it's in her corner. So what about Izzy and Jan?
So it's gonna come. Can Jan catch Izzy, or can Izzy out technique him is what's going to come down to for me.
Yeah.
Because Jan, we know, packs one hell of a punch.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen him recently. He just beat Dominic Reyes for the title, knocked him out, knocked out Corey Anderson before that, went to a decision with Jacare, and he also put Luke Rockhold out cold as well. And so if Jan can catch him, I think he can put away anybody. But I think Izzy adjust 205 really quickly and use his speed, use his technique, because Izzy, I think, is the best striker in MMA at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. And you're not the only one to think that.
No, not he's absolutely amazing, and he's got all the makings of a star for the UFC. I'm a little surprised he's not a bigger star than he is right now, because the man can talk the talk and walk the walk like Conor McGregor. He's a New Zealand's version of Conor McGregor, in my opinion.
Yeah. He said a couple heinous stuff in the past, but with the whole 9/11 comment, that was pretty dumb. But at least he apologized.
Well, he also after John Jones' deceased mom as well, so that wasn't the best look.
Did she actually? I don't think she's dead yet, is she?
No, she passed.
Oh, she did pass. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering. I was like, I don't
Chandler,
think she did. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because DC. DC made a comment.
Yeah, and Chandler pretty much warned Izzy too, because Chandler Jones of the Cardinals warned him about that.
Yeah, and he's the younger, bigger brother of John Jones. So.
Right. The good football player of the brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Arthur was pretty damn good too. So
he was, but Chandler's a beast.
Yeah, and
Chandler's a beast for the Cardinals.
And Arthur was just kind of the fatter, bigger brother too. He's the oldest one, so that's how it goes.
And didn't Arthur get a pop for PEDs as well?
Yes, he did. So
right around the same time as his brother.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I didn't even have to say it. You already said it.
Right. Hey.
Maybe it was the same dealer. Maybe it was the same organization. You never know. So.
Well, when one brother tests positive, and the other one tests positive too.
Yeah, and then
you have to bring it up.
Yeah, and Balco ain't around anymore, so you can't really find one scapegoat. It's got to be many of them. So.
Right.
Well, appreciate it.
Give me. I got Israel next weekend. I think he's going to take it.
I
think the technique's going to outdo the power.
Yeah, and I'm just for the hell of it, I'm gonna go the opposite.
I'm
gonna do Jan versus via KO or TKO. So I could see him clipping him, and I think he's really gonna have to go forward because obviously Paulo didn't go forward. So I think we'll just have to see.
That was surprising in that fight. Everyone expected Paulo just to come forward and pressure him, and he didn't, and Izzy picked him apart until he finished him.
Yeah, that was embarrassing. Costa didn't look good at all. I don't know what the hell he was doing. I don't know if he had a game plan. It kind of went out the window. I just don't know what the hell happened.
Weight cut. I mean, Costa's gigantic for middleweight.
Yeah.
I could see a bad weight cut being the situation as well. So we'll see how Israel and then Jan Blachowicz do, because I'm really looking forward to that fight next weekend.
Yeah, and it just opens up so many doors for a possible match between John Jones and Izzy, and they really wanted it at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play. Hopefully, even in 2022. So that would be a cool.
Yeah, I can see if anyone's going to come and lure John back down in 205. I think it is going to be Izzy.
Yeah, and if
you want the back of John's head, he wants that.
Yeah,
regardless of what he says.
And if you want to sell out a huge stadium like Allegiant Stadium, that's going to be the fight to have. So,
right, exactly.
Other than Conor, that's pretty much really the only fight I think that would sell that out.
Dustin 3, you got to do that one.
Yeah, I think so for sure. So, well, we appreciate Ryan. We'll kind of go down to the fights, and then we'll end this here, and then we'll go straight to the pre-fight next weekend. So, thanks for all your time, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Sounds good, Travis. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Perfect. Great job by Ryan Smith, our news editor, as usual. He does a great job kind of coming up with breaking news. Sometimes we'll get breaking news that other people don't get, but it's, a lot of people get paid good money to have the scoop right off the bat. So, sometimes we'll be able to get it from those sources, but a lot of times, sometimes we'll break news that either our local Colorado fighters get some fight announcements that we kind of try to report as soon as possible, but sometimes it gets leaked to bigger media sources as well. But we just appreciate to be able to cover the news and try to share a lot of the news that some people don't get when they're just going in from the from their daily lives. So it's always a great job. But Ryan does a great job to kind of put it together and put it all through social media so people could check out the stories as well. So we'll just run down real quick what happened tonight in the results. You had obviously the first fight of the night was in the prelim card on the ESPN Plus card. It was Factory X's own Dustin Jacoby, and he ended up defeating Maxime Grishin via unanimous decision, 29-28 on all cards. He not only gets a show money, but he ends up getting the win bonus and also 30% of Maxime's purse due to Maxime going overweight of 4.5 pounds on Friday morning. So just Dustin ends up getting a little bit more in his paycheck. So that's great to see. The bonus awards of the night that went to $50K, he ended up getting performance of the night, Ronnie Lawrence, which was actually the second prelim card. And he gets the third round TKO stoppage, 2 minutes and 38 seconds into the third round. And that actually was, we talked about the betting lines of the card, and it ended up being the biggest odds money for the winner to be able to cash out on. And it was, let's see, he ended up getting, let's see. So for the TKO victory, if you just called it just straight up, it was a plus 700 for Ronnie Lawrence. If he ended up picking him to win via TKO in the third round, it was a plus 1,700. So somebody could have cashed out very well. I saw a lot of posts of people posting betting slips $500 and more on Justin Jacoby just the win on the minus 186 favorite. So some people ended up getting a little over $800 tonight for placing a $500 bet on Dustin tonight. So it was great. So Ronnie Lawrence ended up getting another $50K on the performance of the night bonus, as well as, hopefully people made some good money on him getting the finish in the third round. Oddly enough, it was the only finish of the night. And then the third preliminary fight of the night was a women's bantamweight fight between Alexis Davis, and she defeats Sabina Mazo via unanimous decision, 30-27, 30-27, and 30-26. And the main prelim card, the top one of the prelim cards, was Thiago Moises versus Factory X's own Alexander Hernandez, and Thiago Moises ends up getting the unanimous decision victory, 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28. Pretty one-sided, unfortunately, unlike Vince Cachero, where, when he was facing Ronnie Lawrence, he went for a lot of submission victories and stuff, where he was, even though Ronnie was beating him definitely in the first two rounds and even in the third, Vince had a lot of shots to be able to get a submission victory. So it just really all depended on his heart and just being able to survive. But, Ronnie Lawrence just basically swarmed on Vince Cachero to get the finish. And it was kind of the opposite with Thiago Moises, where he ended up getting the triangle submission into the second round, but he just wasn't able to finish it off on Alex Hernandez. So first fight of the main card ended up being a featherweight fight between Bruce Leroy Caceres, and he defeats Kevin Croom by unanimous decision, 30-26, 30-26, and 30-27. Bruce Leroy Caceres just pretty much a dominating show in the fights tonight against Kevin Croom, and he's on a winning streak as well. So a lot of people seem to think that Bruce Leroy's kind of a joke, and he's kind of the weirdo on the Ultimate Fighter, but he's definitely a guy that you guys have to definitely take notice of, because he ends up getting another victory tonight. So we'll just have to see how his career pans out, but it's looking good so far, and he's getting a lot of great wins in his young career. But he's definitely, not just the weirdo that we kind of saw in the Ultimate Fighter, but he's definitely a great fighter that has a winning streak now going on, and one of the nicest dudes too. He trains down at the MMA lab down in Phoenix, and I've met him a couple times, and Professor Crouch, always great guys down at the MMA lab. But Alex Caceres, one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet, and just really down to earth too. So definitely props to him for getting another victory in his UFC career tonight. The second fight in the main card was a bantamweight fight between Pedro Munoz and Jimmy Rivera. Pedro Munoz ends up getting the rematch victory over Jimmy Rivera. Jimmy Rivera ended up getting a split decision victory back in 2015 against Pedro via split decision. Well, now is Pedro Munoz returning the favor as he gets a dominant decision or unanimous decision victory over Jimmy Rivera, 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28 on the judges' cards. Couple low blows in the fight. It didn't really change too much, but it was definitely interesting to see where they were just kind of accidentally doing it. But it just, sometimes they miss, sometimes they don't. So just kind of a crazy situation. But in the women's flyweight fight on the third fight of the main card, you had Maeda Bueno Silva versus Montana De La Rosa. Montana De La Rosa had a huge egg over her left eye as she finished the fight. It was definitely a back and forth. Maeda, definitely a bigger fighter in the women's flyweight division, and you could tell the size difference big time, and you could also tell the power that Silva had over De La Rosa as well. But, Montana was able to get multiple takedowns and kind of control the fight. And even though, she got hit huge with huge knees up the middle and uppercuts in the clinch and stuff too, but Montana was able to definitely go through. And you guys just heard Ryan say that Vinny Lopez, Elevation Fight Team coach, basically was recording Dana White saying that Dana White, the president of the UFC, thought that Montana won the fight tonight. And then Montana basically had huge swelling over the left eye to finish the fight. But a lot of people thought she won, especially since Maeda ended up getting a point deduction earlier in the fight due to holding onto the cage for too long. So the co-main event ended up being a light heavyweight fight between Nikita Krylov and Magomed Ankalaev. Yeah, Ankalaev. It's so difficult with these Russian names, but Magomed Ankalaev versus Nikita Krylov. Ankalaev ends up getting the unanimous decision victory over Krylov, 29-28 on all cards tonight. Definitely a stand-up battle for most of the time. You could tell that Ankalaev ended up getting a lot of the punishment on the feet. He was definitely the stronger and faster fighter, but Krylov ended up getting a lot of shots in as well. So it's not like it was so one-sided. That's why, Magomed ended up getting 3 of the 2 rounds, or getting 2 out of the 3 rounds to be able to get the unanimous decision victory. And then, like we talked about at the beginning of the the post-fight show, we had a heavyweight main event as we had Ciryl Gane move to 8-0 as he gets the victory over Jairzinho Rozenstruik via unanimous decision, 50-45 on all cards, meaning he defeated on every single round via the judges tonight. And Ciryl Gane actually was ranked number 7 as Jairzinho was ranked number 4. So expect Ciryl Gane to move to at least number 4 ranked fighter in the heavyweight division here coming up soon. And I will not be surprised if Ciryl Gane ends up taking on Derek Lewis in his next fight coming up, especially since there's a little logjam in the heavyweight division where Stipe Miocic defending his UFC heavyweight title against Francis Ngannou in a rematch on March 27th. And then Dana White, the president of the UFC, already saying John Jones will get the immediate rematch. So we'll just have to wait and see how everything falls into place. But don't be surprised if you see Ciryl Gane. Even though he was hesitant tonight, he'll probably be a little bit hesitant with a dangerous striker in Derek Lewis, but I think that's the perfect fight to make if you want to see Ciryl Gane or Derek Lewis in a title shot opportunity. So we'll see how everything plays out, but we appreciate you guys tuning in to the pre-show and the post-fight show. Next week, we'll definitely have some guests on for the maybe even the post-fight show. We're working on some things. Definitely, there's at least one Colorado fighter that's on the card next week, so we'll definitely look to get an interview with him, a guy that we've covered through the local ranks as well. So we won't tell you who it is, you just have to figure it out. But if you're a big MMA fan, you probably already know who it is. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Fight of the night, 50,000K or 50K bonus ended up going to Pedro Munoz versus Jimmy Rivera, which definitely was the fight of the night. So it was great to see those guys in a rematch against each other, getting 50K each tonight. And then you had Ronnie Lawrence getting the 50K for the only finished victory tonight over Factory X's own Vince Gachero. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll have some guests next Saturday afternoon and Saturday night after main event, with the light heavyweight title being on the line versus Jan Blachowicz and Israel Adesanya, the current UFC middleweight champion. So appreciate you guys' time, and feel free to chime in on social media, and hopefully we'll be able to interact with you guys soon and get you guys onto the show. So appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Saturday afternoon. Bye.